up, people? What's good? Salute, salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics, comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. We're a niche channel reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at @6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. Oh, there it is. There it is. What's good, y'all? Sixth element of hip hop in the building. Reno Noir. I'm your host. This is my co-host, Stu Dog. What's happening, Stu?
What's up? What's up?
What's up? What's up? Let me get this microphone over here. Got the new setup with the new office. But yeah, man. So it is Wu-Tang Wednesday, Wu Wars Wednesday. You see the Grogu Wu-Tang. Normally we do the Wu-Tang show, but it's all about Mando tonight, bro. We saw the Mando finale. And yeah, man, it was a big surprise. A big surprise. I did not expect it. We thought maybe they were gonna do something real foolish, like kill Din Djarin, or we didn't know, man, because what they have been doing so far, you couldn't tell, man. It was like, oh, they could do anything, man. They could do anything. So we were a little bit worried, man.
And they've been known to mess up, Reno. They've been known to mess up. They've been known to drop the ball.
And they have been doing it lately. So I wasn't like gonna put it past them. You know what I'm saying? If that was what was gonna happen, that was gonna be the end of my fandom of Mandalorian. Yeah, if they would have killed Din, that would have been the end of it. No more. But you know, silly stuff, foolish stuff has been done, like you said. But we're gonna get into the finale because it was actually good. It was actually well done. I liked it. I know I really did, and surprisingly, they did not. Like, I don't think they did, in my opinion. So we're gonna break down that and you know, just totally break it down, man. I want to get into it. Before we do, like, get into our opinions and all of that, just to remind everybody and fill everybody in on exactly what went down this episode, because Din Djarin and Grogu finally found their happy ending in the Mandalorian season 3 finale. All season long, Pedro Pascal's Beskar clad bounty hunter, you know what I'm saying, and his little tiny green companion have jumped from one threat to another and faced off against pirates, creepy. That was just bad. But the creepy cyborg thing was awesome. I really dug that. That was a great departure from the norm. It was really sad that Bo-Katan had to save him all of a sudden. Like, he just had no skills anymore. Christopher Lloyd was dropped in, little cameo action. That was interesting. But yeah, Lizzo. I mean, you know, Jack Black was cool. Like, Jack Black is cool. Like, he's always cool. He's always going to be cool no matter what. But, you know, I don't know who that was for, bringing Lizzo in, silly stuff like that. But a lot of weird stuff. But after 8 episodes of basically the Bo-Katan show, because we got from many sources this season that the Mandalorian is not about the Mandalorian anymore. 2 seasons it was all about Din Djarin and you know, the lone wolf and his cub, and you know, dynamic. And this season we're told that that's not what the show's about. The show's about many different points of view and you know, all the different Mandalorians and their differences.
Wow.
So
are they gonna change the name to the many different Mandalorians?
I mean, they might as well, or the she DeLoreans or woman DeLoreans. I don't know.
We know. Listen, let's go. We gotta keep it a buck. We know that Disney. No, we know. No, you're right. I'm keeping it a buck. You're right. We know that Disney, for some reason, is on this. As many females, sheminators or whatever they want on screen as possible. At all times, and a lot of the content is becoming LGBTQ, and a lot of people just aren't
Yeah.
appreciating it. They're not
Well,
appreciating it.
they're not, and a lot of people are mad about it.
Oh yeah,
I'm not. Listen, my thing is this: there's always been great. We love female, dude. People have been hyped for the Ahsoka show. Ahsoka's always been a great. We loved Ahsoka. We love female strong. We love female leads. Female
we
leads
do.
make great stories. Love
Yeah,
female
they
leads.
do.
Like, not a problem. We love that. The thing is you're acting like that was never the case. You're acting like Star Wars hasn't always had strong female characters since Princess Leia. So it's just like overkill for no reason, and it's just performative and obvious and foolish and downright offensive. But there is hope for the future because this finale was good. Like I was blown away. Out of the whole season, we finally saw Din Djarin fight like he can fight again. That was amazing. I thought he forgot how to fight this whole season. Like he's not been fighting. He hasn't. He's been. Bo-Katan's had to save him. I don't know how many times. It's just it's like he didn't have no skills. Like the first two seasons, he was dope. He was bad. He was just pow pow pow. You know what I'm saying? Taking out all kind of foes and stuff. But this season it was just very lackluster. But they did give him some great um scenes. I won't say great fights. The choreography again, I gotta complain about because I'm a very critical complainer. No, because the fights from the prequel trilogy spoiled us. All right, the prequel trilogy really spoiled us, and it just made us like need great choreography. I mean the battles and you know what I'm saying, the sword fights, the flipping around and you know what I'm saying, Yoda and you know what I'm saying, lightsaber duels were just crazy. Uh, Hang on, man. I got an issue over here. Um, no, it's a big difference, a big drastic difference in the choreography, the fight choreography. You know what I'm saying? The lightsaber duels. You know what I'm saying? It's just night and day. You know what I'm saying? And it really shows. Like when you really sit back and look at the fight scenes, it's very poorly done. And there's no excuse. I think my son was like, why does everything look so cheap? Why does it look like a cheap TV show? And that is a good question because this is a
It
billion
does look
dollar
like cheap.
company.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a $1 billion company. This is Disney. Like you have no excuse. You could hire the best choreographers in the game. Stu, they could get any choreographer they want. They could get, you know what I'm saying? Donnie, they had Donnie Yen. They could get all these guys, man. They could get all those what was his name? What's the one dude? John Woo. I mean, they could get anybody, bro. And look
yeah.
who they get. It seems like they're getting film students out of college is what these shows seem to be written and directed by across the board. I mean, anything Disney's done, Marvel too. But anyway, like here's how the episode season 3 picks up. The finale was good compared to the rest of it, and that's what we're going to talk about. So let's get into it. Picks up in the middle of the battle for Mandalore. All type of action is going on. It's great. You got Bo-Katan leading her people against the fight against Moff Gideon and his Imperial troopers. And it's a great, brutal, action-packed sequence. Bo rallies her fellow Mandalorians, and Din tries to escape from Gideon's clutches. Ultimately, Grogu helps rescue his mentor with the mech, and together the two set out to find and kill Gideon once and for all. And as they're searching for Gideon, Din and Grogu sort of stumble upon a sinister lab. Very reminiscent of the other shows where we saw the clones and stuff like that, or even Rise of Skywalker, the movies. So we saw the cloning tanks, but instead of like Sloth from the Goonies, it was Moff Gideon, and there's like 10 Moff Gideons. And it was funny because in the last 2 or 3 episodes ago, he said, that cloning stuff is your bag. Like that, I'm not into that. Remember that? Or he was like that cloning stuff. He's like, that's your deal. Talking to Penor. And so they're searching for Moff Gideon, and they find this lab, and basically, thanks to the new technology developed by Dr. Pershing, Gideon has been cloning himself and hoping to create basically a force, a force of force
Sure.
sensitive
Right.
soldiers
Or
in
yeah,
his own
force
image.
wielding.
Yeah, and and Din, quickly destroys the lab and the clones perceivably, and but it's a reminder that the Empire's cloning experiments and stuff did not end on Camino, and didn't end with and listen, the stuff with Snoke and Palpatine, all that's down the road, and all of this stuff is leading to the New Order. Like, all of this stuff is heading that direction, and you know eventually,
And, and you
Palpatine's
gotta think,
resurrection and
and you gotta
Rise of the
think too.
Skywalker.
Yeah, you gotta think too that Grogu will still be alive during Rise of the Skywalker,
Oh yeah,
and probably a Mandalorian, probably the leader of the Mandalorians, being that he's a Force wielder as
you
well.
never know. Anything's
Yeah,
possible. It's all
right.
possible. Um, yo, what up? What up? What up, Dex? Dex in the building. Salute on the lunch break. That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man. This season, I agree. I agree, Slade. But yeah, man. Eventually, Gideon and his Praetorian guards find Din, and this is when I got sort of nervous, man. I thought when the Praetorian guards surrounded Din and they started jabbing at him, I was like, oh, here we go. This is how Din dies, and the battle ensues. Like I said, great fight choreography. Bo-Katan ultimately arrives to help, but even with the dark saber, Gideon just is too powerful. I mean, and he's like a force. You know what I'm saying? He's like he's like the new Vader. You know what I'm saying? Definitely not Vader, but he's what I'm saying, he's working. And at one point, Gideon rips the dark saber out of Bo-Katan's hand, crushing it in his fist. And just renders it useless. But ultimately, Gideon is outnumbered, and together, Bo and Din and Grogu team up on him, overpower him, and as a Mandalorian ship is flying, is crashing to the ground, which Axe Wove hops out of at the last minute for some reason, and we could not understand why he didn't hop out like 30 minutes ago. Like, why did he wait till the ship was almost about to crash to hop out the window? But anyway, so just I guess
You gotta be dramatic. It's dramatic.
yeah,
It's
it gotta be
Hollywood.
dramatic.
Gotta be dramatic.
Yes,
It gotta be dramatic.
exactly. Right,
Yeah, he hopped
right.
out too early. I mean, that's what we would have did. We would have hopped out early, but like, all right,
Early,
it's going
yeah,
to
it's
hit this mark.
gonna
But
be
in Hollywood, you got to jump out at
rough.
the last minute.
Nah, that's right. That's right. 007 style. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, Bo and Din assume that they're done for, and until Grogu uses the Force, because when that big explosion comes, I was like, man, so that explosion just just completely evaporated Moff Gideon, and they're like 10 feet away. So I'm like, I hope they're not about to tell us that they just stood there and didn't get burned by that, because that would have evaporated them too. But of course, Grogu's got the bubble around them, and he's straight up pulling a Groot. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy. He had them all protected, and they're just safe inside this bubble. And I guess it kept the heat out and everything, because they were completely unaffected by the blast. So very cool force action, awesome. And it certainly seems like the end of Gideon. But remember, you know what I'm saying? This is Star Wars, and we didn't see the body. You know, uh,
right. Yeah.
and even if they die on screen and we see them evaporate, they're not. You never know. We've seen
But
them
they're not
fall
a
down.
clone,
Yeah,
right? Remember, we already had Palpatine, so maybe Gideon had a clone somewhere that'll be back,
yeah,
and that'll be the clone thing all over again. But you're right. We
yeah,
got to see.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Boba Fett survived the Sarlacc pit.
Right.
Palpatine survived the Death Star somehow. So it remains to be seen whether Gideon will survive the explosion, or whether there might be Gideon clones running around the galaxy that have already, because we know that they destroyed those clones. I know that everybody's, well, they destroyed those clones, but they're clones. So this guy makes clones, so that there could be other clones, obviously, or stem cells or whatever they are. So still, Gideon's defeat calls for celebration, though, because it was very cool moment. And even without the Darksaber, Bo-Katan takes her place as the official ruler of Mandalore and guiding her people and helping to relight the Great Forge. And meanwhile, Din takes Grogu to the living waters of Lake Minnetonka and where he tells the armorer that he wants to take Grogu on as his official apprentice. And the armorer explains that Grogu is too young to speak the creed. And I thought that was going to prompt Grogu to say his first word finally. And I'm realizing that Disney does not want Grogu to talk because that makes him not the cute little toy that, right? So
Yeah.
it's merchandising, man. The Grogu would be talking. He's 50 years old right now. He's 50 years old. I mean, if he's that intelligent and that advanced of a creature, why would 50 years go by and he still can't utter a word? But he could press buttons that say yes and no. He knows what the word. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. We know that they can speak. Yoda speaks, Yaddle speaks, and Yaddle speaks normally. So it's not like they have to talk like Yoda either. So I guess they probably couldn't decide. They're probably like, oh, he's got to talk like Yoda. No, he shouldn't talk like Yoda because we really don't know why Yoda talks the way he does. Yaddle does.
No, we don't. Because Yaddle doesn't.
So, but he would need the approval of his parents, which was a weird statement too, because I thought they assumed that Din was sort of his pops, but Din makes it official and adopts him the Mandalorian way, and from here on out, Grogu will be known as Din Grogu. So that's cool. He's not. I thought Din was his first name, but I guess it's like Japanese where the first name is the last name, and so
Bajorans. Like Bajorans from Star Trek. Yeah, like Bajorans
yeah.
from Star Trek. The last name is first, the first name is last.
Okay. Yeah. And so his name is Jaren. So we've been calling him Din, but his name is Jaren, and this is Grogu. But yeah, Din Grogu together, father and son, start the new family business, taking odd jobs for the New Republic, and helping protect the Outer Rim. And so they even have a small cabin on the outskirts of Navarro, where baby Grogu, my bad, Din Grogu, can levitate all the little frogs he desires, and they live, happily ever after. And it had this great where the screen just had that sort of black circle that goes like that, which was a very George Lucas thing to do, if anybody caught that, because it was very like old TV show-ish, something George would have done. And that's it. And unlike previous seasons of The Mandalorian, there's no mid-credits or post-credits scene to tease Din and Grogu's future adventures or anything, or let us know what could come next. And can we still call them Din and Grogu anymore? Or Grogu and Mando? Or are they technically now Din and Din? Or or Jaren and Grogu? I don't know. Season 4 of The Mandalorian is yet to be announced, but there is some news I have for you guys about season 4. But the co-creator Jon Favreau previously said that he and Dave Filoni have already written the script. So Favreau also told Entertainment Weekly that he and Filoni have no plans to wrap up the show, and that they'll continue making it for as long as they can. But what he said to Entertainment Weekly, he said, "I don't know what would make me not enjoy doing it, especially I know what." Kathleen Kennedy. He's already said what would make him not enjoy doing it. So let's backpedal a little bit, John. But Favreau, I don't know what would make me not enjoy doing it, especially as long as the audience is connecting with these characters. This feels like a really enjoyable moment, and I love this format of telling one chapter at a time and keeping the audience guessing, but also fulfilling certain expectations. And yeah, I mean, that's cool, but I know he does not I know that he has pretty much fallen back a little bit from the writing this season just because of Kathleen Kennedy's meddling, incessant meddling. But because she won't just leave him alone.
Mm-mm. I think Kathleen Kennedy wants to kind of put Star Wars as her own legacy when she didn't create it. She's not the creator of Star Wars. She didn't. I mean, instead of just maintaining it and making it better over the years, I think she's trying to. It seems like she wants to take credit, like say, okay, we had that era, but this era is my era, and this is what I did with it, and it's so great. It's actually better than the era before it, but you can't. It seems that way, bro. Because
Oh
I've
yeah,
never
no,
seen,
she ain't
yeah,
gonna get
I've
it
never seen any, yeah, I've never seen anybody try so hard to erase
to piss everybody
everything
off.
that was right, and like everything that came before, like you want to erase, like everybody's complaining, like when Lando was in the last movie, they're like, please don't put Lando because we don't want him to die, and
Right.
they had a good point. They're like, listen, you every other character you kill him off somehow. She probably would have kept Carrie Fisher because she's a woman, but I mean she died in real life, and we couldn't help that. So,
Yeah.
but Luke killed him off, made him a Force ghost.
Yeah. It was.
He became one with the Force. But I was reading because you was talking about it so much, like how powerful Luke was. I actually went and looked it up, and Luke, I get what I see exactly what you mean now. Luke Skywalker was so powerful that they said that he actually was able to use the Force to slow down time and everything
Yeah,
around him, and it
bro. He's
made
like a
him
god, bro.
right. Yeah, they said like he could, like they said one of his Force powers was he could slow down time. And he used that to make his lightsaber swing much faster because he would slow you down. But in your eyes, you think he's moving so fast that you can't see his lightsaber swing. And they said that he would do it all the time. And
Yeah.
like they were saying, like he could like some of the stuff I was reading about what he could do. I was like, yo, why we never got to see that? Like that would be dope. And I was like, yo,
Because he's a male, and they can't let the males be the most powerful. Especially, and he's a white male too. So you can't let the white man can't be the powerful. What? And listen, I get that, and that's cool. Like yeah, it would be good to see some more different cultures have the position and stuff like that. But like I think what that means is let's let some people of other cultures create some stuff. Not let's take stuff that we already have that has white people in it and make it other people. No, like that white people made that. You don't want to adopt and say like all we can do is adopt what white people did first. No, no, no. That's the opposite, right? That's offensive. So create something new. That's what um that's what I think is missing personally, but and they want to do it with women. They want to make the down with the patriarchy and sort of what Kathleen Kennedy keeps saying is that we're putting balance to the force. Now there's balance to the force. What are you talking about? There was balance.
that was too,
Star
yeah.
Wars was very balanced. It had strong female characters, it had strong male characters, it had lots of female fans, right? But now you want to just make it overwhelmingly female, and it's like, why? I don't get why. I don't know who that's for, because what like feminists do you know that are like big Star Wars nerds? Like
None,
who
none.
like that's not really their
Oprah,
bag. And
Oprah
I
Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey is one of the biggest feminists I know. She's not a Star Wars fan.
I mean, Star Wars is listen, that stuff was all made for kids and mostly little boys. Comic Marvel and Star Wars was directed toward little boys. We know that because they made My Little Pony. They made Barbie. They made lots of stuff for little girls, and they didn't try to make it for the boys too. Like you didn't see a bunch of male ponies in My Little Pony for the guy fans. They didn't do that, you know?
No.
Um Characters, the franchises had their target audience. And it was cool because there was still lots of girl fans of GI Joe, of Transformers, of Star Wars, of all the
Yeah.
so-called boy ones. and there were
That's what
great
I
characters for them,
that's
like
what
in
I don't
He-Man.
get. Like we had He-Man had girl characters, female
Yeah,
characters. We had Rainbow Bright, My Little Pony, Jim.
right.
And if that
Well, yeah,
wasn't
those
for
yeah, straight up female
yeah,
ones. But
man,
then, like in
yeah,
He-Man, you had what was her name, She-Ra and all that.
Evelyn, Shira,
Evelyn,
Evelyn. That was they
um,
all had a whole female
his
spinoff.
sister. Yeah, the whole spinoff. GI Joe. You had what? Lady J, Scarlet, uh, Cover Girl, Baroness. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah,
There's
Jinx.
no, yeah, Jinx. Cause no, and then Transformers. There's no, you can't. There's no case to be made that there was just this overwhelming male patriarchy that just did not let female characters have a go. Like that, I don't know. I don't understand that sort of outlook, and I get like the generality of it, but I think that just again, I think that just means now women can make content. Like now, there's no white guy with a cigar with a laughing, haha, little woman. There's no like guy now that's saying women can't do this. Like there isn't that. Women makes the look at Oprah, like you said, Oprah. Come on, bro. There's women, running for president. Like it's not even like that no more. And
No, nowhere near,
there's
nowhere near like that.
there's content, there's filmmakers of all races, of all creeds, of all genders, of all um orientations. It doesn't matter. There's filmmakers and content creators and writers and creators and creatives of all walks of life, and it's great and it's beautiful and everyone can have it. But what you don't do is go over into the other ones and try to make it yours too, or so. I don't know. It's like, what are you doing? Like it just doesn't make sense, man. And then you're wondering why it's going the way it's going. And we're gonna see when the Ray movie comes out. We're gonna see. We're, we're gonna
we
see what
might
people really
we
want.
might see before that, man, because
Well,
when this Marvels movie comes out, it's not a lot of people interested in it, man. Like there's just not.
why not?
I keep hearing all the so-called. I guess they're targeting the female audience. I keep hearing a lot of them just say, not really, yes, not really interested.
Yeah, I mean, and then yeah, I don't know, man. It's just I don't know. Let's get back. I want to get into. Let's talk about Moff Gideon. Let's talk about what happened to my man, Giancarlo Esposito and Moff Gideon. Because it was dope. The main villain finally revealed his big plan, and we finally, big what do you call it? Big reveal, and a lot of satisfaction because we finally get answers to the questions. What was why they want Grogu, and what was the cloning thing about, and blah 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 blah. And so, as one would expect, the season 3 finale of The Mandalorian gives us some major story developments, and none of them were bigger than the real finale of the real reveal of what the hell Moff Gideon wanted Grogu for at the beginning of the series. Um, Moff Gideon has always been an odd character, and that's, I think, thanks to Giancarlo Esposito. He's a phenomenal actor. He gave us like how many dope villains lately in so many shows. Um, and he's just always had that sort of odd sort of quirkiness that just made his stuff a little bit creative and special and different and cool. And because he was created for the Mandalorian, this character was a Mandalorian character. And we'll talk about that too later. Like Bo-Katan is not a Mandalorian character. Bo-Katan is a character from a whole other show. So we'll talk a little bit about characters that are Mandalorian characters and characters that have sort of been shoehorned in and sort of took over that weren't really from it. Again, same. You see the parallels. So, but the series has made attempts to retroactively tie Gideon and him into existing character storylines, from
Mm.
other movies and stuff. So something that they had to do after they showed him wielding the dark saber in season 1. But this week we finally found out for the first time what his deal is in the present. He's been implementing plans and doing machinations for 3 seasons of television, and the man who hired Din Djarin to capture Grogu in the series premiere was doing so on Gideon's behalf. And that guy, that German guy, the you will have the best guy, that guy. He said that he said that the showrunners were cowards because What did he say? Oh, because it was something about Grogu using. They wanted to make a CGI version of Grogu because they were worried that the puppet version wouldn't be accepted or whatever, and so they were Grogu almost was a CGI.
Mm,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think that would have ruined it. I
yeah.
like him better as a puppet.
Oh yeah, 100%. So, but yeah, but that guy, that German guy, he called them cowards because they were, they shoot the scene with the puppet there, and then they wanted to do a clear slate without the puppet there, so that they could digitally put it in later. And he was like, "No, why? Let's not even shoot that. Like, what are you doing? What are you're cowards? Like, just fucking use the puppet. Come on." And so, but yeah, luckily they did. But yeah, the plans that they danced around what the plans actually were, and between last week's episode and this one, we did get a pretty clear picture. So Moff needed Grogu's blood to create force sensitive clones of himself. A lot of us sort of predicted that. I know I was one that predicted that they wanted Grogu because of his force sensitivity, and I think most people sort of picked up on that pretty quick. And but you know what I'm saying? The fact that he was cloning himself, that Moff Gideon was cloning himself, I never guessed that. I never would have thought that. I thought he was doing it on behalf of Palpatine, or
Mm.
Snoke, because that's ultimately where it's leading, or Thrawn. Come here, come here, go, get up, go lay down, or Thrawn because Thrawn's coming. Go lay down, lay down. Or Thrawn because we know Thrawn's coming in Ahsoka. And I thought Thrawn might come in this episode. That was one that I thought was gonna, because they were talking about there's gonna be this big event. Someone big is gonna die. And there's gonna be, some new character or something. So I kind of thought it was gonna be Thrawn, but we didn't know who this clone was for, who they were trying to clone. So it was interesting that it ended up being Gideon. And so he equips Beskar armor. That's another thing he was trying to get, the Dark Trooper, and then the Dark Trooper armor. And then he rocks a suit of that, and he was going to dress his clones in that, and they were going to be force sensitive. And then, with this power, he would just basically rule the Reborn Empire, which, has been secretly reorganizing itself under Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that's what happens. So the Empire is, gone, but Thrawn is like this, bro. He's just like this badass general. He's like, what? He's like, Palpatine's dead. He's like, so what? He's like, nothing changes. Like nothing stops. Like that's how. Like nothing stops. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, what's that movie? So he's like, nothing stops. It's still the Empire, and so he's gonna make it happen again. Like he's the one that. So go read, like I said, read Heir. It's called Heir to the Empire, and it's a trilogy, and that's where Thrawn comes from. And it's a great trilogy, great books, and you'll see all of what basically who Thrawn is and why he's so important and why everyone's so excited. I know a lot of people are like, Thrawn, what is that? And because I've heard a lot of people, they're like, what is that? Who's this blue guy? Why is everyone so hype about it? Why does anyone care? Who is that? So yeah, that's the books. It's called Heir to the Empire. That's one of the trilogies. There's a whole other trilogy which I forget the name of, and I can find it for you. Someone in the chat can probably grab that. There's two trilogies that Thrawn is part of: Heir to the Empire, and there's another one. They're great. There's also a graphic novel and comics that are dope as fuck with Thrawn, and there's audiobooks and all that. So that's how I read all my Legends novels, all my Star Wars books. It's all audiobooks because they do like sound effects, they got actors, voice actors, they're dope. And they're verbatim word for word the novel, because I'll actually I'll take the novel and read along while I'm listening to the audiobook. It's just something that helps me focus and really absorb the material. I do it sometimes, but yeah, so they're verbatim, the audiobook. I know I used to wonder, like, is it word for word though? Like, yeah, it's word for word, the book read
Yeah,
out.
it is.
And audible.com. Very cool.
I once listened to, I think it was The Hobbit. No, it was Lord of the Rings,
Mm,
audio of it. And that's when I
dope.
realized how good audiobooks are. Cause you're right, they
Yeah.
was making sound effects like they would talk. I was like, yo, this
Yeah.
was all right, man. We were driving somewhere and we just popped it
Yep.
on and listened to it. I was like, yo, let me check this out. And we
Yep.
listened to the whole thing. By the time we got done, we was like, yo, I got like I see why. Like when I used to sit, you ever watch movies? You see people listening to the radio. I was like, how can they get hype off of that?
Yeah.
But after listening to
Yeah.
an audiobook, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see it now. Yeah, it can get you hype.
That's true, bro. That's a good. Yeah, I never thought of that because it is a good like example of that because I be into them, bro. I've listened to hundreds, bro, hundreds of audiobooks. Like not just while I'm driving, like while I'm driving to work. Because I normally have like an hour commute any job I have because of where I live. So I'm always listening to audiobooks while I'm cooking. Like whenever I'm doing something and I got, and I'm just, you know, I think most people would be listening to music, which is what I would used to do. But I'm telling you, bro, I got addicted to these audiobooks and I can't get enough. Like I can't get enough. I've recommended it to everybody I know, and they're the shit. And Star Wars books are some of the best ones. They're just because they're audiobooks are not all created equal. So don't take my word like, oh, that audiobook sucked. Some of them are really bad. Some of them are unlistened to a billable. Hotel. Yeah. Some of them is, but I don't know because I don't know what the hell's
I
going
listened
on.
to a bubble. That's a new one for me. That is a new one. I listened to a bubble. I gotta use that one. Yep.
No, you can hear me, but you can't see me. There we go.
Yeah.
All
There
right.
you
How
go.
long has it been off? I don't know.
It's been a good while, man.
Yeah, has it been like
Yeah,
10 minutes?
yeah. Nah, like it flicked. I mean, I hit you in the jaw. It
Oh yeah, I
flickered.
couldn't.
It flickered, and then it just the screen just got big. Like it turned, like your joint turned blue, and then the screen
Hmm,
just got big.
that's crazy. My bad. But you can say something to me. Because I sometimes I don't. I guess you know. Sometimes I can't see the screen because of the way this thing is set up. But yeah, if that happens again, bro, just tell me. Just be like, yo, dog, shut up. Look at the screen. Um. Yeah, but yeah, while we was, learning about the plans, about Thrawn and stuff, seemingly they were ended by Din Djarin and Bo-Katan and the rest of the Mandalorian force on Mandalore. They basically destroyed all the clones and Gideon, and he was incinerated and crashed the Mandalorian cruiser. And Moff Gideon's story seems to be over by all appearances, or is it? And I Giancarlo Esposito has said like Moff is not going nowhere. So I don't know because in the first two seasons of The Mandalorian, Moff Gideon he had that thin mustache, right? Well, this season he showed up for the first time last week. The mustache was gone. And now you could be like, "Oh, he shaved his mustache," but these are characters in a show. They have a look, right? They don't change characters don't shave and change their beards and stuff like that unless there's a reason, right? Especially in
Yeah,
a
you're
in a
right. He
show.
did. Yeah, you're right. He didn't have no mustache. Oh,
Yeah. So
I just
now we
noticed that. I
find
didn't even pay attention to that, bro. I ain't never pay attention to
and
that.
why would they do that? Like just a style choice? Nah, it's a reason. So now we find out again. Now we find out that he had a lot of clones of himself right before he's killed. So it doesn't smell right, and that clean
Wait,
shaven look could be a tell.
that
What
was
I'm
a
saying?
clone.
That the Gideon we saw die is just one of his clones, or that one of his clones will take over, or something, and with the real Gideon, or one of the clones possibly out there still somewhere. And there's got to be something more to this because the Mandalorian played Gideon's obsession with Grogu as a mystery for so long that it would be awkward to finally explain it right as Gideon is killed off and the storyline is ended. And so we're talking about the main villain of the series here, right? And so unless Disney is having some kind of contract dispute with Giancarlo Esposito, which we know, I mean, I know because he's on Instagram all the time, and he would have said. And so it would be strange for Jon Favreau and the other powers that be at Star Wars TV to just toss the story aside. You know what I'm saying? And just that's it. So think about just the time that they've invested in this thread this season. So a month ago, we had an entire episode about Dr. Pershing. Why? Um, a scientist, an imperial scientist. Remember that episode was so weird. Like, why'd they even do that? And he was the guy that from season 1, he was the Moff Gideon's client, right? With the glasses.
Oh yeah,
And
with the
so
glasses. Now, I
and
always
so
thought he was the. I always thought he was the doctor that was in that they showed one episode about.
yeah,
I always
they
thought that
did.
that was him, and
Mhm.
he's also in what do you call it? He was also in Bad Batch. So I always
Oh,
thought
yeah,
that
yep.
yeah, I always thought that was him because when I just watched the last 2 episodes of Bad Batch, Saul Guerrera's in he's in but it's a younger version of him in
Mm,
Bad Batch. And I was
mm,
like, yeah, and I was like, yo, that's Saul Guerrero. And they kept saying his
that's
name. I was
dope.
like, yo, I said,
Yeah,
that's Saul.
yeah, that's dope. But no, Dr. Pershing is the dude with the glasses, the one that, the new character, the real short, the boy haircut chick that zapped
Chick,
his
yeah,
brain, just gave him
right.
shock therapy. And so, that was pretty much the end of him, and that was the longest episode in the series, even though it barely had any Mandalorians or had anything to do with the Mandalorian story at all. So that
Right.
there's something there. And so closing off Persian's story with setting up this whole deal with Gideon's clones, as well as Gideon's machinations with the Empire, he had Persian killed to prevent the other Imperials from having the technology to create their own force sensitive clones. And so then he proposed to his peers in the Imperial Shadow Council that they needed somebody other than Thrawn to lead them. Presumably, he meant himself. And so this, has been way too much legwork, I think, to only add up to just an Easter egg about how Emperor Palpatine came back to life in Rise of Skywalker. Gideon's story
Yeah, I
just
was going to say maybe that's why they did it. But like you said, that's too much.
it's too
That's
much to
way
go
too
through for
much.
that.
Yeah.
But Gideon
Listen,
himself might
weirder
not be
things have
part
been.
of it.
But wait a minute, man. They got these other movies with Ray coming up. And
Yep.
remember, in the last movie, he said that he cloned himself multiple times. So it might be
Right.
another clone of Palpatine out there. But let Palpatine go, man. Just let him go. I don't just let him go, man. We need a new villain. Like we was cool with Snoke. You could have made Snoke anybody, and that
Yeah,
was
man.
cool, bruh. But we still don't know who he is. We still don't know what the origins of Snoke. We still don't know if it was a clone of Palpatine or we
Yeah,
just
there's
don't know.
comments.
Yeah,
There's
nobody's ever
comments.
said anything. Yeah, nobody ever said anything. It was a
There's
dope
comments.
idea, and they should have just stuck with it.
Yeah, they explored it in the comics. They furthered the Snoke story. There's books. I think no, I don't have that one. But there's yeah, they did. I forget who he was or what the deal was with him. Um, but they did explore it. But bro, you could tell it's all retcon. You could tell it's all just to explain the fuck ups that they had with the movies, because you know switching to Ryan Johnson and then he just does whatever he wants with what I mean that I can't really blame Ryan Johnson for doing that. I blame like Disney and like Lucasfilm. Like, why'd you let two different people come in and make two different stories if you knew you were making a trilogy? It's a trilogy. You knew you were gonna make a trilogy and you knew it was part of a singular story. So why would you let someone come in who's just gonna contradict everything the first guy did? And then worse than that, you bring the first guy back to try and finish his story after the middle guy fucked it up instead of letting that guy just continue the crap he was doing. So there was
yeah,
no hope.
yeah, man. We,
But
we could have
aside from
gotten
the
something.
yeah, bro,
Okay,
we should have, you know.
and I
But I
kind of,
don't
to be
know,
honest
man.
with you, I kind of liked the Snoke, man. I thought Snoke was
Yeah.
see Snoke was like to me, Snoke was the embodiment of the dark side. He was cruel, he was
Mm,
evil. He showed
mm,
Kylo Ren no respect
yeah.
because he was his Padawan. Like he like he showed
Yeah,
him
he
like
was.
like
He was evil. He did
yeah,
seem
he
like
was
he didn't give a
evil.
fuck. Yeah, he was dark.
Like he was real
Yeah.
dark, and that's what we needed. And you go back to Kylo Ren, and he ain't ready to lead the New Order.
Nah.
Snoke was. I mean,
Bro,
come on, man.
the Force Awakens movie, like, wasn't as bad. It wasn't that bad. It just they made a lot of dumb decisions. I mean, killing Han and silly stuff like that, and like, but basically, it was just like a rehashing of the first movie with different people. It was like the same basic thing over again if you just sort of line it up, and so, but it wasn't just the worst thing ever. And Snoke was
Right,
like this big ominous. He was all giant and like in the dark, and like you couldn't really see his face, and
right.
you were
See,
like, "Is it fucked
yeah,
up, or do I just can't see it, or like what is it?" And it's like bad mysterious. So yeah, I feel you. Like he did at first it seemed like he could be somebody cool, man, and I was interested to see who he was. Like I cared who that was, and when they just made
thank
him
you,
a rotted
thank you. We
clone in a
all did.
jar,
Yep.
I was like, "What?"
Yeah, we
So
didn't know what. Yeah, right. In the third movie, when they show you, like, damn, bro, like I thought
and
Snoke was way more than that.
how would Kylo ignite the saber next to his body?
Without him knowing.
Snoke wouldn't have
'Cause
known that. Then Snoke is
right,
whack.
because you
Then he's
right, because
whack.
remember Kylo couldn't get away with nothing. He couldn't think.
Yeah,
He couldn't do nothing. Like he was like Snoke was like he was powerful, man. Like
bro,
and
he's
I'm
supposed
like,
to
wait a
be.
minute, he don't feel him using the Force, turning that lightsaber towards him. Like he would have known that. He would have been like, yo, what are you doing? Like remember he
Yeah.
did it to Ray. When Ray tried to use the Force, he was like,
Hmm.
I was
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So, but
Oh,
aside from the most obvious conclusion, the
but
main the main
wait a
story
minute.
thread of the
But
Mandalorian
Thanos,
is over.
Said it best though. Thanos said it best, Reno. He said arrogant people usually don't pay attention.
Hmm. And the other possibility that Gideon is being replaced by Admiral Thrawn as the main villain of the era of the whole thing, that might be why they killed him off. Like if he really is dead, then it would be to just make to make Thrawn the most, the big bad, because it would have I was a little concerned. Okay, so when they make Thrawn, when he comes out, he's either got a bitch Moff Gideon, or one of them's gonna for them to really see how badass like Thrawn is, he's gonna have to come in and like bitch somebody that's in power. Like they're gonna have to see, okay, this is someone, because remember, most people don't know who Thrawn is. That's not like big fans of Star Wars, unless they like were big fans of like the Clone Wars or something like that, or saw him in the shows or whatever. But the average fan don't know who he is, so they're gonna try to make him establish his dominance and show how important and big bad he is. And so I was concerned that they were going to do that to Moff Gideon, because they kind of would have to. And I didn't want to see that happen to the character of Moff Gideon. So if that's their reason, story wise, it makes sense, and I can be down with that. But unfortunately for us, Thrawn didn't receive even the vaguest allusion in this finale, which I thought we would get. So we basically still know nothing about what he's doing. We just know that he's doing something, and he has secretly been behind Gideon. And so hopefully this will all make more sense after we see Ahsoka later this year, which I'm sure it will. That's sort of the whole idea.
It is. Hopefully Ahsoka's good. Man. It's looking. Previews look good. Trailer looks good. Just it just needed to be good, just as good as the Mandalorian or
Yeah.
Andor. Andor is the only Andor and Mandalorian are the only shows I've seen since Disney took over that really feel like Star Wars. Especially Andor. It
Yeah.
makes you really, really, really say, "Well, damn, this. I can dig this." But we'll see.
Yeah.
And we got another season of Andor coming. We're gonna see what they do with that. Hopefully, they keep it all the same and just keep the phenomenal writers there that did it. A lot of people upset there's no lightsabers in it, but it's still Star Wars. You gotta take your hat off to
Hmm. Yeah.
it. But a lot of people say what you said, Reno. We're not getting a lot of lightsaber action.
No.
And
I mean, no, it's not supposed to, and that's fine. We don't want no lightsabers in the Mandalorian. That's cool.
Nah,
It's
nah,
not that
not
kind of
Mandalorian,
stuff.
and not an Andor either.
Yeah.
Yeah, not an Andor
Or
either.
Mando.
We
Yeah,
better
no.
get, we better, yeah, we better get a lot of lightsaber action in Ahsoka.
And Ahsoka.
I can
Oh
tell you that
yeah.
now. Oh
Oh
yeah, and
yeah.
Visions. Yeah, we better get a lot of lightsaber action in those joints,
Plenty
but
of
not in those.
lightsaber action to come. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Plenty. But so yeah, man. Who's let me see who, because it was some people. All right, so the Mandalorian brought back Moff Gideon though toward the end of this season, and that was dope. And they revealed the inner workings of what remains of the Empire, because this season sort of teased more to the Empire's return beyond the First Order. And the various warlords that are now scattered across the Outer Rim are actually secretly in contact in the shadows. And we saw that now in this I think it was in the last episode with where they had that meeting with Moff Gideon and the holograms of all the different warlords. That's what that was. So those are the different warlords of the different factions of the Empire that are still around, they still got their ships, they still got their troops, they still are all sitting there. Just because the Emperor died doesn't mean everything evaporated, right? So all these guys, they're like, we're gonna do something like with this shit and run shit, and there's no reason we have to shut it down because this is their job, it's their livelihood. And so seemingly working toward the resurrection of the Empire. And I think it seems like Favreau and Filoni are, are bridging the gaps between the original Star Wars and the sequel trilogy, and they're trying to make it make sense. And I'm disappointed because I actually wanted Lucasfilm to forget the sequel trilogy or just let it die, let it be done, and just make new stuff that doesn't, because you don't even have to talk about it. We don't have to see how the new fucking whatever was invented and all of this. We don't have to ever talk about that again. You can do
That's true.
stories like we've been, dude. They can do all kind of stories in the galaxy far, far away, all around the fucking galaxy, that have nothing to do with the First Order, nothing to do with Rey, nothing to do with that story that made no sense, and the characters that didn't fit and made no sense. So they don't have to. So I don't know why they're insisting on doing that, because I think that's going to taint the other stuff that could have been great, by trying to add it to mix it with that crap. You're going to dilute it with crap. I don't know why they're doing it, but I don't know, man. I think so. And I think that the seeds were planted and that there's more than the First Order that's being born in these years of the Mandalorian. And so, what we learned about the different warlords and how it signaled that they all might be working together to one goal in the future. We had Brendel Hux. Remember Hux? At the secret meeting, he was saying, talking about Project Necromancer. So that's all they were talking, Project Necromancer. And it isn't too hard to read between the lines on what that was. Obviously, necromancers connect with and resurrect the dead. And we know that Hux was a large factor in the First Order coming to power. And of course, his son, Armitage, was leading the First Order when we saw the sequel trilogy. You remember Armitage Hux, the redhead guy Hux
Oh
from the sequel
yeah,
trilogy.
yeah.
Right. And so mainly because he teamed up with Captain Phasma to have his father killed, this guy. And so we learn all that from the Phasma novel, by the way. Not on any show that you'd see on Disney Plus or in any of the movies. So there is books that they've made that fit into all this stuff and connects the sequel trilogies and all of that stuff. And so in any case, I don't think that's what I was saying about Snoke. They've fully explored Snoke. They've gone into all of that. And I don't think it's a stretch to speculate that Project Necromancer is, the initiative that gave us Supreme Leader Snoke and, of course, resurrected the Empire, or, the Emperor. So Gideon even referencing, during the Mandalorian episode, that Hux liked his clones and that, we know that there were multiple Snoke strands created for the Emperor to puppet. And, we already knew, because remember, the emperor had to not only have a clone to puppet, right? But that clone had to be able to use the force. It had to be like a Sith Lord, right? So Snoke had to be a force sensitive clone. And that's why I always assumed the whole thing with Grogu and making the force sensitive clones was all about. We find out that it's for Gideon to make his own. And I don't know if that's something he was just doing on his own in secret, which I think it was. I think the Emperor, the Empire was still doing their thing with, Snoke and all of that. But, and then there's Gilad Palon. Palon, who again, this is from Thrawn. This is from the Heir to the Empire books and the comics and stuff. So Palon wasn't necessarily in opposition of Hux's plans, but he did seem to have another idea of who should be the leader of the resurrected empire, because Palon advised that the Imperial warlords should try to limit their attacks and prevent, unwanted New Republic attention until the imminent return of Grand Admiral Thrawn. And Thrawn, of course, was one of the Empire's most brilliant tacticians, by far. Could be seen as the next suitable leader in the absence of the Empire or Vader. He knew of Vader. He knew Vader. Like him and Vader have had, stuff. So he was around with Vader and all of that. He was running shit during the Empire during the whole time. And so the problem is that Thrawn has been missing since he was pulled into hyperspace with Ezra with the with the Purrgil, the space whales. And so, it doesn't seem like that Moff, or the other Imperial warlords are aware of where he is or if he's ever coming back. But we know that Lars Mikkelsen, the guy that played the voice, did the voice acting for Thrawn in the Clone Wars, or in Rebels rather, he's going to be playing Thrawn in live action, which is cool. He's dope. And so in Ahsoka, he's going to be in Ahsoka rather. So yeah, he's dope. He's a dope actor. And I think his brother is Mads Mikkelsen, who is who I wanted to play Thrawn. I didn't really put the two and two. So, but yeah, so Thrawn will come back, and apparently he's going to, it's going to happen before the Emperor's resurrection. So, because in the books and in the comics, the Emperor is alive while Thrawn is alive. So I guess Thrawn will still be alive when the Emperor comes. So I don't know how that all works out. I don't know how they're bringing in Thrawn and still saying that the sequel trilogy happened. I don't know how they're going to, make this make sense. I really don't. And like I said, man, I wish they just kind of wouldn't. They could totally leave it alone and tell plenty of great stories, but they want to. They want to pump that sequel trilogy because it's merchandising. They don't want to waste all what they did, so they want to be able to sell more Rey toys and all of that, which, I mean, in the action figure community, not that many people really collect Rey and stuff like that. Like, people don't really buy Rey toys. Like, nobody cares about that character. So they're probably really, and they're trying to do the Rey movie and all that, so they're really trying to push all of that, because that's all that's all Disney's about, and that's all really that we can hope for is some great stories and some cool creativity inside the big commercial that is Star Wars.
Right now, yeah, you're right.
Now that
and our subscription goes up to $100 as of next year.
Is it worth it, y'all?
Exactly. It's going up every year since it came out. By the time everybody renews next year, everybody's renewal this year, whenever you renew, your next renewal, you'll be at $100 for the year.
What was it before that? Because I only pay about a month. I don't pay the year.
I paid $80. I paid my last one $79 bucks. Something like that. Hang on 1 second. I got something at the door.
But yeah, it seems that some of their biggest moments were done without, his counsel, without Thrawn, and he was there, apparently in the background. We know that because of all the stories and books and everything, and he's here now, so that kind of proves it. Kind of means that he was there. But he doesn't get a mention, really. Doesn't, given his overall viewpoints on what he liked and disliked about the Empire. such as their use of super weapons. It seems that some of their biggest moments were done. And it's possible that one of the Empire's greatest warriors was defeated before the rise of the First Order, because again, they're trying to make it make sense. But if they were following the books and stuff, Palpatine would be around while Thrawn is around, so and Vader. So it kind of they have to be doing something new with the characters. So I'm not sure that's the case. And I'd retcon that if Thrawn saw the First Order repeating the exact same mistakes as the Empire before it, he would not be involved, or he'd be doing something drastic about it. But I'd also like to think that the fact that there was, a splintered empire, possibly led to the First Order not being nearly as dominant as the original empire. And of course, this is all just speculation, and it's just entirely possible that Thrawn was long before Rey ever set out on her quest to take take on the First Order, or whatever she did. That Thrawn was taken out, man. But one thing that seemed clear, I think, in the latest episode is that Hux and Thrawn have their plans together, and Moff Gideon doesn't seem to really be involved. And so him dying is probably for the best for his character, for its legacy, because Thrawn would definitely, dwarf him, belittle him, make him not such a big bad anymore. And, I don't know. And I'd say that he's playing the good soldier for the time being. Well, he was, in order to, gather the resources for that, his plan, his operation and all of that for running Mandalore, and his, taking over the world and all that, world domination. Yeah, but I mean, that's my I think so. I think he is for now, for the time being. Like that's just it. Yeah, for the time being, he's going to be the big bad. Stu, I think you gotta unmute your joint.
Oh yeah, we just got a
Did I see,
package.
did I see an unboxing?
Yes, sir. Package from Amazon.
Package.
Dun, dun. Let's see what we got here. Wait a minute. Bang.
Booyah.
I've never seen anybody pack a comic like this ever. Which is this is a first for me, where they just put cardboard on both sides of the box.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's love right there.
And they taped the hell out of it too. Look at that. He taped this joint down, man.
Dang.
This is yeah. I'm struggling here a little bit getting this tape off.
They sealed it in. They yeah.
It's it's sealed and taped.
You need just grab a razor blade or something, man. Just
Yeah,
don't cut the comic book.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to knock it out without damaging the comic, man. Hang on one second, but Thrawn. I'm glad they did something with Thrawn, because when you watch Rebels, like I watched Rebels, I haven't watched it in a while. I want to watch the whole thing again because I haven't seen it in a while. I'm gonna have to rip this out of here, man. This is. I mean, I thank you for packing this like this. Pleasant View Comics. On eBay. Pleasant View Comics on eBay. But damn, bro, this is like childproof, man. It's like opening a childproof jar, man.
Yeah, man. Sometimes but but you got to be careful not to damage the book. See, that's one thing about over packaging. When you sell a comic and you send it to somebody, you want to seal it so that it's safe, but you don't want it to be sealed so badly that they're gonna have to ruin it to get it out.
Right.
Because that happens. That happens.
Okay, there we go.
Absolutely happens.
All right, here we go. We got it.
What do we got? Oh shit! Oh shit!
Bang!
Booyah!
Fantastic Four Unlimited.
Tell me about that. Number 1, starring Black Panther.
Yes, sir.
Tell
This
me about
is
this. Why did you get
this
this?
is well, this is the very first appearance of Black Panther in the
Say
Fantastic
what?
Four. Yes, sir.
What do you mean though?
But not the father, the son. This is the first the son.
Oh, that Black Panther.
T'Challa. Of T'Challa, not T'Chaka.
T'Challa. Right. That's dope, bro.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. And I got it for a pretty decent price. And it's in pretty good shape. I gotta get it slabbed.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, so yeah. But we gotta get this slabbed and tab. But they actually double bagged it. Like it came
That's dope.
whole bag. Yeah, it came with this dope. I guess this is promoting their it says Icon Tropolis. It's gonna be in New Jersey.
What year did
Miami,
that
New
come out?
Jersey. Hang on, I'll tell you right now. Hang on, I'll tell you right now.
It should say on the cover.
This is 90. I don't know if it's 93, but it says 30 years. Avengers 30th year.
No, it should say the date, like right around the where the price tag, where the
Oh,
price is.
March.
Yeah,
Oh,
it'll say
March
March.
1st. Yeah, March.
But there's a year.
March
Two digit.
1. The
Two digit.
year is.
Or it'll be real tiny, like the copyright. It'll be real tiny black letters, like it'll say copyright.
I'm trying to see now. Okay. The only thing I got is.
Flip around. Let me see.
Yeah, because I don't see it on there.
All right. So you see where it says where the whole Marvel Comics logo is? Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
It looks like it's folded or it's around the okay, so it's either in the staples, but it's that yellow box where it says Marvel Comics, the logo, or it says giant size collector's item in that yellow box right above the white box that shows the issue. You know, the yellow part where you see the price and the issue number, the white box above that, you got the big yellow rectangle. Look at it. The spine.
Oh, on the spine right there.
Like look towards the spine where the logo is at the top. Way at the top corner. That top where the logo is. Top left corner with a Marvel logo.
Yeah. Nah, it's all black. Let me take it out. Hang on. Let me take it out.
It might be
take
rolled to the side.
Yeah, let me take it out. Let me actually take it out. Let's see.
What's it called? It's called Fantastic Four Unlimited.
It's Fantastic Four Unlimited #1. Giant size collectors. Definitely gonna read this joint.
There it is.
Damn, it is thick too. They don't make them like this anymore. 1992. 1992. Because see these cards on the back? I have these cards. I have the whole set of these cards that came out in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I even have uncut sheets of them. They were like hugely popular at the time. But I've never seen anybody like even on eBay. Like I've never been on eBay and seen anybody with them. So I don't know if people hoarding them or what, man. I don't know what.
It says that's the first giant sized. No, but I know it's not the first giant sized. It's definitely not the first appearance of Black Panther. You know that.
It ain't the first appearance of Black Panther. We know that now.
You know that, but it's the first.
It's the first.
T'Challa came out in the 60s.
I think it's I know it's something with Black Panther. So it's an appearance of Black Panther.
Definitely, yeah. It says the first giant sized, but I don't know what they mean by that because Marvel definitely has been doing giant sized comics way before. But yeah, the date I'm trying to see the year on it right now. I'm looking at it, but no, I can't see it either. I think it's rolled over to the side by the staples. It must be. Looks like it is on this one too. Oh, there it is. The artist signed it at the bottom. He wrote 92. So there's 92.
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
9 deuce. I love that iteration of Reed Richards.
Oh, with the I always like that too. We always had the tech with him. with the
But
backpack.
yeah, yeah, and just the way the whole team looks like they had a cooler look. I don't know. They looked more like darker or more raw, just not so goody goody. Like I like, yeah, like I like that. Yeah, that Reed though, that Reed looks like he looks tough. Like Reed always looks like, I'm sorry, man. Fantastic Four always look so like cheesy, and they are. They act goody goody. They act corny. That's like they're the first family and all that. Like that's how they. But
That's how they get down.
I can't. I like to see when Reed Richards is like, because there's the Council of Reeds, right? Reed has how many Reeds are there in the multiverse? You know, millions, countless different versions of
Yeah,
Reed, right? There's all kind
versions
of
of
Reeds.
Reed. Yeah,
You got reeds that are that can flame on. You got some reeds that are the thing. You got some reeds that turn invisible. You know what I'm saying? You got bad reeds, good reeds, old reeds, like all kind of any reed you could think of, any variation of a person you could think of.
yeah. It's the first. It's the first appearance of. It's the first appearance and origin of Black Panther. That's why I got uh
The
Chanta,
what?
the grandfather of T'Challa
Oh, okay, okay.
and Shuri. It's the grandfather as Black Panther.
Hmm.
So it's the first appearance as the granddad as Black Panther.
But there are some season 4 Mandalorian release date expectations and things. Though a new report from Making Star Wars offered fans the first indication of when they might expect to see the season 4 Mandalorian. So they wrote that season 4 of Mando will start filming this October with pre-production, props, and sets. Hires currently being made. The report also noted that season 4 of the series was written early to avoid the threat of an incoming writers' strike and ensure cameras could start to roll as soon as possible. And with this October start date, fans can look ahead and start to see, when, you can sort of try to judge when it'll come out. They're not going to give you a date, but we know that season 1 and season 2 premiered on Disney Plus 12 and 13 months respectively after first starting filming, right? So season 3 took 17 months. So, but they
Mm.
had that real important long episode.
And then
However,
we had, yeah. Then don't forget they did Book of Boba Fett. We should have actually got it a year earlier or a little bit sooner, but Book of Boba Fett got in the way of that. So
right. Yeah, and season 3 was also filmed under, COVID restrictions and things like that, so that could attest to it taking a little longer. But if they start filming in October, then judging by the first 2 seasons, it will be probably maybe Christmas the following year in that sort of time frame around that, fall or winter next, not this coming fall and winter, the next one. So yeah, a good little ways, probably over a year, which is
mm,
ridiculous. I don't know why it's taken them more than a year to make these shows, but because they listen, I love it. Take all the time you want, but them shits better be coming out looking like Game of fucking Thrones,
yeah, yeah,
not the
I agree.
CW's latest offering.
I agree.
So what's happening here? I don't know, man.
I agree. I agree
What
with
are
that
you
100%.
What are you gonna do?
Uh, like I said, and Bad Batch took a long time to come out as well. So,
Yeah, it did, man.
yeah,
But
so
listen,
whenever
guys,
they do,
I know you got to go, Stu, and I think we busted it up, man. We chopped it up pretty good. We know what's going on with the Mandalorian. The finale, the season finale, sadly has come and gone, but it wasn't that bad. And in fact, it wasn't. It was pretty good. I have hope for Ahsoka. I think Ahsoka still has the potential to be a great show. It also has the potential to be a flaming diaper dumpster fire. So you never know. But I'm hopeful. I love love the Ahsoka scenes in Mandalorian. I love Rosario Dawson's portrayal. I love the writing of that episode that she was in, the whole feudal Japan samurai aspect of it. So that doesn't necessarily mean the show's going to be great. Unfortunately, if you love the Ahsoka scenes like I did, it doesn't really mean anything, because this show, it's made by some different people, and there are some different people involved now that are now ahead of Lucasfilm that used to be the people that sort of messed up Marvel, and now they're over here, and it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But hopefully, man, the right people had the final say about Ahsoka, man. Because listen, Ahsoka, Dave Filoni has been great with The Mandalorian, but The Mandalorian's a new thing. Ahsoka is his baby. He created that character for the
Right.
Clone Wars and carried her on through Rebels, and has like nurtured this character, and she's all through comics and obviously shows and stuff like that. But we've only had her live action in The Mandalorian, just with Rosario Dawson. That's all we've ever seen of her. So that shows you how important female leads and female heroes have always been in Star Wars. We're hype about this character, about this show, not because Kathleen Kennedy made us see the light. We already loved the character. So no, dude. But anyway, man, I digress. Blah, it's gonna be dope.
Nah. You on to something. Disney, there's a leaked video online where I haven't seen it yet, but I keep hearing about it. I've heard about it more than once, so it's got to be true. Where there's an exec who she was on a video call, and I guess somebody recorded it or whatever, and then put it out there, and she was saying how anything LGBTQ that she can put in, they're gonna make sure it gets in there. That because and she said that she feels that people don't have the right to complain about anything LGBTQ or or homosexual being in Disney movies, because a lot of parents are taking their kids to the movies to see them, and they're like, "Is this safe to watch?" It's not. They get there and then they got to explain, and the kids are like, why is it? Like, what is this?" So it's a thing where she was quoted as saying they put the. I'm gonna try to find a video, send it to you. I gotta find it, but I keep hearing about it. Apparently, it's a thing.
Well, that's we already, we know that whole thing is it is what it is. Like, and I think a lot of like LGBT real people are not happy either. Like, they're offended by it too. They think it's performative and offensive, and it is. It's both of those things. And so we're not by any means having any issue with LGBT community, with female care, none of that. That's not the issue.
No, we don't care about none of that anymore. It doesn't make us a difference. The issue is kids,
I'm on their side.
Yeah, like let kids make up their own choice, man. Like, let's let that's an adult thing, man.
Well, with the kids thing, it is what it is. I mean, I get that. Listen, like, there's all kind of relationships, and kids should know that, and whatever. That's cool. But you don't have to like stuff it down their throat and like make a lot of shit about it, like make a big deal out of it or anything. Like, yeah, okay, whatever it is, what it is. Like, you don't see heterosexual stuff every 5 minutes in kids stuff. So why would you see that? So it's got to be balanced. It's got to be done right. It's got to be done for the right reasons. And it's fine to do it, but if it's done right, it's got to be done right. It's got to be done with respect. It's got to be done with class. It's got, and it's got to be done with moderation. It's got to be done the same way it would be done if it was anybody or anything else. But that's how we get down, man. I know, Stu, you got to go. Be safe, bro. And you guys will be back Saturday, man, for DC Power Hour at 7 p.m. Every Monday, every Wednesday, every Saturday, 7 p.m. right here. We have 3 different live shows. And check me out on Instagram too, man. On Instagram, I got a show with Cooks coming up. We're gonna talk about the Vice channel. documentary Marvel Icons, which was incredible. I highly recommend you go see that. You can check it out on Hulu. And I think it's on something else, maybe HBO. I don't know. It's on somewhere else, but yeah, it's called Icon, something about Marvel, something Icon Marvel, but it's all the behind the scenes shit with the company of Marvel, not just the MCU, not just the comics, all of it, everything about the company, all behind the scenes. Very great. We're gonna chop that up. So y'all have a good evening, have a good Wednesday. We'll see you this weekend. Peace.
Peace.